I'm about to tell you something that'll make you question everything you think you know about influencer relationships. Make sure to hit that like button if you enjoy my videos, and don't forget to subscribe if you're new here. So, picture this. I'm Lydia, 28, and I've built something most people only dream of. My Instagram has 180K followers, brand partnerships that pay my rent, and a lifestyle that makes other girls literally green with envy. Clayton, my boyfriend of 4 years, he's this intense data analyst who works with numbers all day. Look, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. He's not exactly what you'd call conventionally attractive. His hairline started retreating when he was 25, and his idea of fashion is whatever's on sale at department stores. But here's the thing. He's obsessed with me in this weird analytical way. Like he's constantly studying my patterns, memorizing my routines, tracking my moods like one of his spreadsheets. It should be romantic, but it feels more like being under a microscope. The system we had worked perfectly for 4 years. I create content, look amazing, build my brand, and he handles everything else. The rent, groceries, my $300 skincare routine, those twice-weekly networking brunches that are essential for my career. People always ask how we make it work when we're so different, and I just smile and say, we complement each other. What I don't tell them is that lately I've been feeling suffocated by his constant presence. Clayton's always there, always asking about my day in this probing way, always wanting to connect and discuss our future. It's exhausting. When you're building a personal brand, you need space to breathe, to network, to be seen with the right people. He doesn't understand that my job is so much more complex than his little number crunching world. He thinks I just take pretty pictures and cash checks, but there's strategy involved, relationship building, market positioning. Between us, I'd been getting restless for months before Ralph entered the picture. Clayton's predictability was starting to grate on me. Same morning routine, same questions, same concerned looks when I'd come home late from networking events. I needed something more stimulating, someone who actually understood ambition. Everything shifted when I started working with Ralph 3 months ago. God, where do I even begin? Ralph is everything Clayton isn't. 6'4" built, like he spends half his life at the gym, and he actually gets my industry. When he became my content manager, it was like someone finally spoke my language. Ralph understands vision, aesthetic, brand positioning, all the things that make Clayton's eyes glaze over. We'd have these late-night strategy sessions that felt electric. I'm not stupid. I knew there was chemistry crackling between us. But I also knew I had a good situation with Clayton. He's reliable, never questions my spending, and provides the financial stability that lets me focus on growing my influence. Ralph made me remember what it felt like to be truly desired, not just financially supported. The night at Onyx Lounge was supposed to be innocent, just drinks, just business planning. But when Ralph leaned in close to show me something on his phone, when his hand lingered on mine, when he told me I was wasting my potential with someone who didn't appreciate my ambition, I felt more alive than I had in months. We didn't sleep together that night, but the emotional connection was already there, humming between us like electricity. Clayton's credit card alert the next morning almost made me laugh. He's so methodical about everything, checking transactions, like he's auditing a Fortune 500 company. I knew he'd noticed the $220 bar tab, and part of me didn't care. Maybe I wanted him to notice. Maybe I wanted some kind of reaction from him, besides his usual passive acceptance of whatever I did. When Clayton confronted me about the bar tab, I was ready. I'd been thinking about this conversation for weeks, actually. He stood there in our kitchen, holding his phone like it contained state secrets, asking me about my Tuesday night work session in this suspicious tone that just proved how little he understood about my world. So I told him the truth. Not all of it, but enough. Yes, I was with Ralph. Yes, he's attractive. Yes, we have chemistry that Clayton and I haven't had in years. And you know what? I wasn't going to apologize for it. I looked Clayton straight in the eye and said the words that had been building up inside me. I don't need to be faithful. I'm the prize here. The way his face changed was almost satisfying, like I'd just shattered his entire worldview with one sentence. But it's true. Do you know how many DMs I get daily from men who would kill to be in his position? Men with actual ambition, actual style, actual conversation skills, beyond discussing quarterly reports and asking how my day went. I told him he should be grateful I come home to him at all because, let's be real, what does he bring to this relationship? Besides a steady paycheck, I expected him to fight back, to get angry, to show some kind of passion. Instead, he just nodded and said, "You're right, Lydia. You are the prize." It was almost disappointing. Even when I'm basically telling him I'm emotionally cheating, he just accepts it. That's Clayton for you. No backbone, no fire, just analytical resignation. What happened next felt like the universe aligning perfectly. Clayton came to me with this reality show opportunity. Love locked, and I swear my pulse started racing before he even finished explaining it. A tropical island resort, cameras everywhere, 6 couples competing for $250,000, and most importantly, national television exposure. This was it. This was my moment to go from regional influencer to actual celebrity. Clayton presented it like he was doing me this huge favor, talking about how amazing it would be for my brand, how we'd be incredible together on camera. I was already mentally planning my outfits, my talking points, my strategy for maximum screen time. The best part, Clayton would handle all the tedious contract stuff while I focused on what I do best, being magnetic on camera. When the contracts arrived, I barely glanced at them. 80 pages of legal nonsense, please. That's what I have Clayton for, to handle the boring details while I focus on the big picture. He mentioned something about phone access and social media verification, but I was too busy researching the other couples online to pay attention. My DMs were clean anyway, just brand partnerships and thirsty fans. Nothing I couldn't handle. The night before we left, I was so excited I could barely sleep. This was my shot at the big leagues, my chance to show the world what I was really capable of. Clayton seemed strangely calm about the whole thing, but that's just his personality. No vision, no excitement, just methodical planning. I should have recognized that calculating look in his eyes. The villa was everything I dreamed of and more. White furniture, perfect lighting for selfies, cameras positioned at flattering angles throughout every room. I was in my absolute element from day one, giving confessionals, by the infinity pool, strategically networking with the other contestants, making sure I was the focal point of every group shot. The other couples were exactly what you'd expect. Basic people, trying too hard, clearly threatened by my presence and social media following. There were these CrossFit fanatics who kept flexing for the cameras, some long-distance couple who cried every 10 minutes, an older stable pair who looked at everyone else with pity, and 2 other influencer wannabes who immediately saw me as their competition. Clayton played his role perfectly, as the supportive boyfriend, always agreeing with me, always making me look good in confessionals. It was almost too easy. When the host asked him about dating someone as dynamic as me, he'd smile and say, "When you're lucky enough to be with the prize, you just feel grateful to be in the game." The producers ate it up. The challenges were ridiculous, building rafts that symbolized our relationships, cooking meals that represented our future trust exercises that made everyone cry. But I made sure to look stunning in every single one. While Clayton did the actual physical work, I provided the commentary, the personality, the star power. That's how partnerships work. Everyone plays to their strengths. I was openly flirting with some of the male contestants and even the production crew. Why shouldn't I? I'm attractive, charismatic, and these people were clearly drawn to me. Clayton never said anything, just kept playing his devoted boyfriend role while I worked the room. 2 nights before the finale, I was on what I thought was a private conversation with one of the other female contestants, talking about how Clayton was basically my safety net. "He's like a 401k, I laughed. "You need him for security, but you don't get excited about him. You have fun with your play money." I thought we were alone, but apparently the mics pick up everything in that place. Then came the transparency challenge, and I knew we had this in the bag. What could they possibly find in my DMs that would be problematic? Some flirting with Ralph, please. That's just smart business networking. But when they started reading my messages out loud on national television, when I heard my own words about Clayton being my safety net and calling him a puppy who believes everything I tell him, the room went dead silent. The worst part wasn't even the affair stuff. It was seeing Clayton's face. Not hurt, not angry, just satisfied. Like he'd been waiting for this exact moment. There on the giant screen were my texts to Ralph calling Clayton pathetic, saying I was counting down the minutes until I could leave him after the show, talking about how I'd been accidentally running into the hot producer by the yoga deck. Messages I'd sent 1 minute after telling Clayton I loved him. When Clayton stood up, unclipped his microphone, and walked toward the villa exit, I realized I'd been played. Clayton, methodical, analytical Clayton, had orchestrated this entire thing. He'd read every word of that contract, knew exactly what would happen, and set me up to be humiliated on national television. National. I started screaming. Not crying, screaming. Raw, guttural sounds that probably made great television. "You set me up," I shrieked at his retreating figure. "You did this to me. You ruined everything." But he just kept walking silhouetted against the sunset like some kind of movie hero. The aftermath was swift and brutal. Within hours of the episode airing, my entire world collapsed. Brand partnerships canceled faster than I could refresh my email. Followers dropping by the thousands. My comment section flooded with people calling me every name in the book. The prize became a punchline, a cautionary tale, a meme that people shared to mock entitled women. Ralph disappeared faster than my sponsorship deals. Turns out he had a girlfriend, a personal trainer who posted her own expose video that went viral. She had screenshots of our conversations, photos of him bragging about manipulating desperate influencers, the whole 9 yards. He wasn't some sophisticated content manager. He was a freelance scammer who targeted women like me. I tried everything to salvage my reputation. Apology videos where I claimed the editing was misleading. Explanations about how reality TV manipulates situations. Claims that I was taken out of context and made to look worse than I was. Nothing worked. The internet had decided I was the villain, and there was no coming back from that narrative. Meanwhile, Clayton became America's sweetheart overnight, the loyal boyfriend who exposed his cheating girlfriend's true nature. Women were sliding into his DMs, offering to be his real prize. Talk shows wanted to interview him about recognizing red flags in relationships. It made me physically sick. Fine, yeah, I cheated emotionally. I said terrible things about him behind his back. I used him for financial stability while planning my exit strategy. But he manipulated me into signing that contract, knowing exactly what would happen. He played the long game better than I did, and somehow that makes him the hero. 8 months later, I'm working retail in a strip mall, living in a studio apartment that smells like the Chinese restaurant downstairs. My Instagram account has 3,000 followers, mostly people who still comment snake emojis on every post. I watch Clayton's new life unfold on social media. He's dating some basic girl who works in accounting and thinks Red Lobster is fine dining. She probably thinks she's so much better than me because she has a real job and doesn't care about her appearance. The worst part is that everyone treats him like some kind of mastermind for what he did to me. But here's what nobody wants to acknowledge. I never actually slept with Ralph. I flirted. I had feelings. I said some things I probably shouldn't have, but I never physically cheated. Yet somehow I'm the one whose life got completely destroyed while Clayton gets to play the victim and ride that sympathy wave to a better life. Look, maybe I wasn't the perfect girlfriend. Maybe I took him for granted and said some cruel things. But destroying someone's entire livelihood over emotional cheating. That's psychotic. That's the behavior of someone who spent months calculating the most devastating way to ruin another person's life. And everyone just thinks it's justice. I'm not the monster here. I'm just a woman who knew her worth and wasn't afraid to demand what she deserved. The real villain is a system that rewards manipulative men who play victim, while systematically destroying women who dare to want more than they're given.